Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to all my cloud scholars out there. My name is Kieran Tross, and I want to thank you for continuing to watch this series. If you are clicking on this and this is the first one you're watching because you want to get an understanding about course allocation, or perhaps it might be Azure Advisor, I would urge you to watch some of the earlier videos that I have. This is actually going to be the last one for this series around cost. So today we're going to be jumping into course allocation and then also talking a little bit about Azure Advisor. All right, before we get into course allocation, just so you know, there are some prerequisites. Course allocation currently only supports customers with a Microsoft customer agreement, an enterprise where you buy Azure services through a Microsoft representative, and then also a customer agreement that you bought through an Azure website, and an enterprise agreement, right? So just so you know about that for when it comes to course allocation. All right, so why would you use course allocation? And I promise you, this is the last slide. We are going to jump into the portal after this so that you can see about course allocation, and I'll show you how to set up your first one. So some of the reasons why it might be for shared services: distribute costs of shared services like networking or security across departments. Centralized resources: allocate costs from centrally managed resources to respective business units. And then project billing: assign costs to specific projects for accurate billing and reporting. So the reason why about a centralized resource could be like networking, right? Where you have a bunch of departments and you have your network laid out, right? So a lot of times when you're doing stuff in the cloud, not a lot of times, you really should be planning out your guardrails. So you would have your management groups and then you would also have your networking. But then you have shared services, or there's certain services that you have in your environment that everybody has to use. So that would be like your prod, test, dev, so on and so forth. And then you'd segment your environment from there. If all of the departments are going to be using networking, then it really shouldn't fall on the networking team only, right? That cost. So how do you now move that cost so that this way things can look a little bit cleaner? Because you're going to also be looking at your staff and saying, okay, well, how are you guys managing these resources? Are you doing the right thing? And that's a part of your job, right, as a head of a department, to make sure that you're getting the job done, but also being efficient with the resources that you have, like turning them off, getting rid of resources, so on and so forth, because it can get very expensive within the Azure environment. All right, so we're gonna jump into cost management. So you can just type in cost management up here. I have it over here. And what I wanna do is I wanna come down here to cost allocation. So within the cost allocation, you have the opportunity to change the scope. I'm not gonna change it. I'm in the right scope right now. But I'm just gonna show you how this really works. So if you click on add rule, there was also it on the top left. Over here, we could give a name to our rule. So I can just say project, I'll do 123, right, which is fine. And then here it says create a cost allocation rule to assign costs from specified sources to specific targets. So kind of going back to what we said about networking, right? So that could be a shared resource, or perhaps you have a project that's running in your environment and the way it was deployed is in different resource groups, and you're like, okay, we really can't break anything right now because we are, midway into the project, but we need to move the cost from one resource group to another because we didn't really do the best job logically breaking down resources into those logical containers, which would be resource groups. And the person that was here before me didn't do the best job, right? So that could be a situation where you come in and now you've got to, look at the cost and then provide that to leadership. This is a good tool for you to use. So here we can go and look and say, okay, well, the resource groups, or you could go to the subscription, but we're going to go resource groups, and I'm going to say everything that is a part of RG East US, I need to add a target that the cost will be distributed to, and I need to add it to another resource group. And I can do that where I come here and now I can say, all right, well, that was East US and now we're going to go to West US, right? So let me just make sure I had that right. East US, good. And then over here I have West US. So then, you come over here to next, and then over here is where you can have multiple different resource groups. Now for this one is easy, right? Because I am literally just picking one, right? And then you have, certain things. So you can say proportional to total cost if you want to. and you're like, well, we still have certain things there we need to think, but it says pre-filled percentage unavailable. This is not enough data available to calculate because I don't have enough resource groups here, right? And then you could do a custom. You also have proportional to compute cost. So I could just say distribute evenly, and then that's fine. And then I will click on create. And then here we have our first cost allocation. But if you had multiple resource groups, you can break that percentage down way more than that. So, okay, so now I'm at the Azure page, and you see where it says allocate cost. If you read through this really quickly, this is where they have the prerequisites. But I'm going to come down here so you can see this screenshot. So you see right here, there are proportional to total cost. You can now say and fill this out. So now that whole area where I was doing the breakdown only had one resource group, right? But as you can see on this screen, there's a multiple resources. There's 4, and you can see the percentage that they're breaking it down to all these different resource groups. So this is giving you a good understanding of how cost allocation can work within your environment. Obviously, I didn't have too much going on because it's a lab, but for your environment, you may have a whole lot more, and this will help you out when you want to break down the costs and have a percentage go to each type of resource groups, or even you can do subscriptions if you saw the way that was set up earlier. And that's pretty much it for cost allocation. That's just how you go about doing it. It's pretty straightforward with setting it up and using it for your environment. Okay, so the next thing I want to kind of talk about is Azure Advisor, right? So this is a screenshot that I got online. And essentially with Azure Advisor works as a digital cloud assistant, right? It helps you follow best practices in order for you to really optimize your resources in your Azure environment. So it's really broken down into these different categories you're seeing here, right? So they have reliability, which ensures and improves the continuity of your business critical applications, security to detect threats and vulnerabilities, performance to improve the speed of your applications, cost to optimize and reduce your overall Azure spending, and then you also have for your overall operational excellence as well for your environment. So back over at the Azure portal, I'm going to come over here to my advisor, and you can type it up here and you'll get it. And this is exactly similar to what you were seeing. So I don't have a lot going on like crazy in my environment. I try to clean up as much as possible. Hence the reason why I go online and just grab screenshots so you guys can kind of see an environment with more data. But as you can see costs, I'm at 100%. You are following all our cost recommendations. This is a good thing you guys are watching my videos because I really am, I've been using Azure cost for a while. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more confidence in following what I'm saying in these videos. But then you also have things for security. So if I were to click on security now, and you would see it says, hey, you know, it gives me the impact, it gives me the description, and then has impacted resources. Let's start with the first one. So this says machines should be configured to periodically check for missing system updates. And I have one virtual machine that is impacted. Then you have Microsoft Defender for storage plans should be enabled with malware scan and sensitive data threat. It tells me the subscription. Windows virtual machine should enable Azure disk encryption, and so on and so forth. And it lets you know about other things as well that are low, which is like Network Watcher and subnet should be associated with the network security group. This one is because I was creating a video and I was showing, you know, how you can do about a subnet, and I didn't associate a network security group with it. So I tend to do things incorrectly in my environment because I'm trying to show how you fix it, right? Or, you know, how you go about preventing it. But for you, you don't really want a lot of these here, especially the high impact ones. So this is the Azure Advisor showing you security stuff. Over here, if I went to reliability, you can get some stuff here. Create an Azure Service Health Alert. Stay informed about issues. Over here, operational excellence. It gives us some information as well. And then over here in performance, it's giving us some stuff. Well, this one doesn't have anything to follow. But as you can see, cost is pretty empty for this environment. So definitely take a look at Azure Advisor. It can give you a lot of good things, not only about cost, but also security as well, and reliability and the other categories. So that's about it for this video. This is a nice short and sweet video. I want to get straight to the point, give you the information you want, so that this way you can go back to doing whatever work you were doing and you stop just to watch my video. So I appreciate that, but I am very cognizant of people's time. So I try not to make videos where I'm just rambling and talking. But I'm getting to the point and giving you exactly what you need so that this way you can be a better architect, engineer, or IT professional altogether. So once again, my name is Kieran Tross. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps with the algorithm. And I really enjoy making these videos for you guys. I've been getting a lot of great feedback about my different courses and videos. So I really appreciate all the love. So yeah, until the next time, my goal here at Cloud Scholars is to get you from scholar to consultant, and of course, consultant to expert. Thank you, and see you next time.